Listen. I need you to hear this with your heart, not just your ears. There's a single moment in every person's life when holding on hurts more than letting go. And if you're listening right now, maybe that moment is happening to you. Maybe you're carrying something heavy. A memory. A person. A mistake. A version of you that doesn't exist anymore. And for some reason, you kept telling yourself you could handle it. Until suddenly, you couldn't. Take a breath. Because the next 20 minutes might free you in a way nothing else ever has. Let's begin. You ever notice how you can forget where you put your keys? But somehow you can never forget the things that broke you? Pain sticks. Not because it's powerful, but because you replay it. Over and over. Inside your mind. Inside your chest. Inside the quiet moments when nobody's watching. And that's what letting go really is. It's not erasing the story. It's refusing to reread the same chapter. You're not here because you're weak. You're here because you're finally ready. Ready to stop carrying things that were never yours to hold forever. Let me tell you a small story. Imagine you're standing in the ocean, holding a giant beach ball under the water. Your arms shake. Your chest tightens. You're trying to keep it down because you think you have to. But the longer you push, the harder it gets to hold. That beach ball? It's your emotional baggage. The moment you let go, it doesn't explode. It doesn't destroy you. It just rises to the surface. And you finally breathe. Letting go doesn't sink you. It saves you. Maybe you held on because you believed, if I just try harder, it'll work. Maybe you held on because you didn't want to be the bad guy. Or maybe you held on because the version of you who started didn't know how to leave. But you? The you who's listening right now? You're different. You're wiser. You're tired in a way that's honest. And you're brave in a way you don't even see yet. Because healing doesn't start when you forgive others. It starts when you forgive yourself for staying too long. Here's something nobody teaches you growing up. Your mind doesn't let go automatically. It needs permission. So let's try something. A small experiment. Say this inside your mind, not out loud, just inside. I'm allowed to move on. Again. I'm allowed to move on. Notice that feeling in your chest? That little drop of pressure? That's the beginning of release. Your mind listens when you speak to it. Your heart listens when you stop lying to it. And your soul listens when you finally choose freedom over fear. There's a strange thing about humans. We're terrified of endings. Even if the story is hurting us. You know that relationship you tried to save 1,000 times? You didn't fail. It just wasn't meant for the person you're becoming. That friend who drifted. That opportunity that slipped. That memory that stings. They weren't punishments. They were teachers. Some people are chapters, not books. And you're allowed to turn the page. Let's create another moment together, a mental snapshot you can return to. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a long, empty road. Behind you, everything that hurt. Everything that disappointed you. Everything that broke you and made you doubt your own worth. Ahead of you, a road that you've never walked before. Fresh. Quiet. Wide open. Now imagine yourself taking one step forward. And the moment your foot touches that new ground, the weight on your shoulders loosens. Just a bit. You're not running. You're not escaping. You're simply choosing direction. Letting go isn't an exit. It's an entrance. You ever wake up one day and realize the person you became was just a survival version of you? You smiled to keep peace. You swallowed your truth to avoid arguments. You stayed silent to maintain stability. You kept giving chances because you believed people would eventually see your worth. But you forgot something. Something simple. Something powerful. Your peace matters too. And if someone had to lose themselves so the connection could survive, that connection was already gone. Letting go isn't giving up on them. It's choosing not to give up on yourself. Let me give you a truth that stings for a second, but heals for a lifetime. You don't heal by holding on. You heal by accepting what already happened. Acceptance is not approval. It's acknowledgement. This hurt me. This changed me. And I'm allowed to move past it. You can't clean a wound you refuse to look at. You can't rebuild a life you're still defending. And you can't step into your future if you're glued to your past. You deserve to be free, even if the old version of you doesn't know how yet. Here's another experiment, a simple one. Think of the person or memory you can't let go of. Notice what your body does. Your breath changes. Your shoulders tense. Your stomach tightens a little. That reaction? That's not love. That's emotional residue. Now imagine the same person, the same memory, without the emotion attached. Just the facts. Just the reality, as if you're watching it happen to someone else. Feel that difference? That clarity? That small slice of peace? That's you stepping out of the storm. Your clarity is stronger than your past. Maybe nobody ever told you this, so I'll say it now. You don't need closure from someone who hurt you. You don't need apologies that will never come. You don't need every question answered before you move on. Closure isn't something you receive. It's something you decide. Letting go is choosing to stop reopening wounds just to see if they still hurt. And trust me, I say this with love. They do. And they will. Until you stop touching them. Let's shift the tone for a moment. Because letting go isn't only about heartbreak or loss. Sometimes it's about letting go of the person you thought you would be. The dream that didn't work out. The plan that fell apart. The timeline you built when you were younger and didn't know any better. Life doesn't follow blueprints. It follows truth. And the truth is, you're not behind. You're not late. You're just shedding versions of yourself that no longer fit. You're evolving. And evolution requires release. Think about the seasons. Trees don't panic when their leaves fall. They don't cling to what's dying. They don't force what's meant to go. They let it fall. They trust the process. They trust the cycle. Why? Because the tree knows something we often forget. You can't grow new leaves while holding on to dead ones. You can't become who you're meant to be while clinging to who you used to be. Letting go is nature. Letting go is growth. Letting go is wisdom. Let me ask you something personal. If you weren't scared, who would you become? What decision would you make? What conversation would you finally end? Which dream would you finally chase? Which weight would you set down? Fear keeps you holding on. But fear is a liar. It tells you that letting go leaves you empty. It doesn't. Letting go creates space. For new people. New peace. New experiences. New strength. New identity. You're not losing. You're clearing space for better. Another story. A true one. A man once told me that he kept every message from a relationship that broke him. Every text. Every picture. Every voicemail. He said deleting them felt like deleting proof that he once mattered. One day, he gathered everything, every digital memory. And he didn't delete them out of anger. He deleted them out of respect for the version of him who loved deeply. He said, I realized I didn't need proof of what happened. I needed proof that I could let it go. And that was the first night he slept without crying. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is press delete. There's a softness in letting go. A maturity. A quiet strength. People think it's dramatic, painful, chaotic. But real letting go happens gently. In small choices. In moments when you choose peace over pride. Clarity over chaos. Yourself over the past. Healing isn't loud. It's silent work. Internal work. Invisible work. The world won't clap for you, but your future self will. Let's create your turning point, right now. Slowly breathe in, hold, and let it go. One more time. In, hold, and release. You just did something important. You proved to yourself that you can let go even if it's just air. But letting go is a muscle. You build it one release at a time. You are stronger than the story that broke you. You are wiser than the pain that shaped you. And you are ready even if you don't feel ready. You're becoming someone new. Someone lighter. Someone freer. I want you to imagine yourself holding a rope. This rope is tied to the thing you've been struggling to release. A person. A memory. A version of you that's outdated. You've been gripping it so tightly that your hands are sore. The rope is burning your palms. You're exhausted. But you look down. And you finally realize. You're the only one still holding on. You take a breath. A deep one. And with every ounce of strength you have left, you gradually loosen your grip. Finger by finger. Breath by breath. And then, you let the rope slip from your hands. It falls. Softly. Quietly. And suddenly, you feel weightless. You're not empty. You're free. This is your moment. The moment everything changes. The moment you choose you. Letting go doesn't erase the past. It frees your future. It doesn't make you weak. It proves you survived. It doesn't end your story. It begins your next chapter. You are not who you were. You are becoming who you're meant to be. And today, right here, right now, you finally let go. There's something beautiful that happens when you finally release what you were never meant to carry. Your mind gets quiet. Not silent, just quiet in a way you almost forgot was possible. You start noticing new things. The softness in your own voice. The difference between loneliness and peace. The way sunlight suddenly feels warmer. The way your shoulders sit a little lower, like your body finally trusts you again. Because the truth is, your body keeps score. It remembers every moment you didn't speak up. Every time you swallowed your pain. Every time you stayed when you should have walked away. And when you let go, your body feels it first. Your breath gets deeper. Your heartbeat steadies. Your mind stops racing long enough for you to hear yourself think. And that's the moment you realize. You didn't lose anything. You reclaimed yourself. Let me tell you something that most people never hear. You didn't fail. You didn't waste years. You didn't mess up your life. You loved with what you knew. You stayed because you cared. You tried because you believed something good could grow. That's not a weakness. That's humanity. But now, loving yourself means letting go of the story where everything was your responsibility. You're allowed to rewrite the script. You're allowed to walk away from cycles that drained you. You're allowed to choose a future where your happiness isn't negotiated, where your worth isn't questioned, where your heart isn't an afterthought. Letting go isn't the end of the story. It's the end of the chapter that taught you who you were never meant to be again. Picture this. You're walking through a hallway with hundreds of doors. Some are open. Some are locked. Some look familiar, the doors you keep trying to walk back into. Even though you know nothing new is waiting inside. Letting go is choosing a different door. Not because you're running. Not because you're broken. But because there's more life ahead of you than behind you. And maybe, just maybe, your greatest peace is behind the door you've been too scared to open. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is a quiet whisper that says, "Let's try again, but this time with me." One last thing before we close this chapter together. Life will keep asking you the same question. Until you answer it truthfully. Are you holding on? Or are you afraid to let go? Most people hold on because the pain is familiar. Because the past, even when it hurts, feels safer than the unknown. But the unknown is where your future lies. Your peace. your growth, your new relationships, your new identity. The unknown isn't empty. It's waiting. And so is the version of you that's been quietly whispering, I hope one day we get free. Today, you took a step toward that future. Not a dramatic leap. Not an overnight transformation. Just a step. And sometimes, one step is enough to change the entire direction of your life.